everyone and welcome back to my YouTube, or if you're new here then welcome. My name is Cassie and today I'm going to show you how I do my everyday bronzy, glowy, blushy type of makeup look. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a no makeup look. I like to wear makeup. I like to look like I'm wearing makeup. I have a lot of fun with it. So this is the type of makeup that I would normally do for like a date night, or if I'm filming something fun or just want to look really nice and polished. This is my go-to makeup look. However, this is not the same makeup routine that I would normally do for like a really special occasion or some type of event where I want really long wearing makeup. If you want to see more of a long wearing makeup routine, let me know and I can definitely dive deeper into that and do a video on that. So something that I won't show you in this video, but I want to make sure I mention is my skin prep. So I normally just do very light skincare each morning, some sort of like gel moisturizer. I also dermaplane my own skin about once a week. I have very dark features and dark hair, so dermaplaning is kind of where you take like a little razor and just kind of get all the peach fuzz off of your face. I don't recommend for everyone to do this, but if you're comfortable, I do feel like it gives me a really nice, fresh, smooth surface to apply makeup to. And a couple of things that are optional but also make a really big difference that are not exactly makeup are whitening eye drops. Definitely consult with your eye doctor if you have any sort of like eye condition, but my eye doctor said that these Lumify eye drops are totally safe for me to use, and so I really like them because they basically whiten the whites of your eyes. It helps me look more awake and refreshed. And I love to fake tan my body, but I pretty much never fake tan my face. However, this week, I actually did do some fake tanning on my face. I actually just contoured with my fake tanning mousse in like the 3 shape on my face. So I did like my forehead and then under my cheekbones and then a little bit like on my jawline too. And then I also did a little bit on my nose too. So in just a second, when I start from scratch, you'll probably see that my face looks a little bit more glowy than it normally would look. Contouring with your fake tanner really does make a difference, especially if you're someone who wants to be able to go without makeup, or if you want to do like really light makeup. I do feel like it helps to have that extra layer of like shadow and dimension in your skin tone. So now that we've covered kind of all of my like behind the scenes type of prep and skin prep, let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. Okay, hi everyone. I am now fresh faced. I have nothing on my skin except for my moisturizer, and then I went ahead and applied some of my whitening eye drops that I just talked about, and then just a little bit of my lip mask. This is my favorite one at the moment. I'm also at my dining room table because it's pretty good lighting out here, but I have a nice big mirror right here in front of me, so if you see me looking this way, I'm just looking at myself. Okay, so let's dig into my big makeup bag. Since this is my everyday makeup routine, I don't normally wear a primer or anything like that, just on like a day-to-day basis. I save the primers for when I need like really long wearing makeup for like a wedding or an all-day event. My skin is pretty sensitive to different makeup products, so I just don't even risk a breakout on a day-to-day basis with a primer. But the foundation that I've been loving lately is the House Labs foundation. I am in the shade 160 Light Neutral. It's a little bit more dewy of a formula than I normally would reach for, just because I have like pretty oily skin. I have some bigger pores. But another one that I really love is the It Cosmetics CC Cream. I usually keep a couple different colors in my makeup bag just because I fake tan so much. I like to be able to kind of like mix different colors together to create a color that's actually gonna match the rest of my body based on how tan I am. And to apply it, I also use this nice big foundation brush that's from Tarte. It's got such a big surface area that it makes it really easy and very quick to just like tap out and blend out your foundation so seamlessly and so quickly. So what I normally do is I just take a little bit of the foundation. I don't do a ton because again, this is just my everyday makeup. I don't need anything like super full coverage, nothing crazy. I just want a little bit of like a sheer coverage. I have a little bit of a breakout over here that's healing, so I'm just gonna tap a little extra in that area. So I just dot it all over my face and then I tap it in with my big Tarte foundation brush. I feel like everybody has like little makeup quirks, like little things that they do that's like very specific to them. And one of my little makeup quirks is I love to kind of tap my foundation all around the edges of my mouth. So I don't cover my lips completely in foundation, but I like to have just a little bit around the edges because I feel like it makes applying my lip liner or lipstick like so crisp and clean. I just fake tanned, so this foundation is a little bit lighter than I normally would like it to be, but that's okay because we're gonna go in with plenty of bronzer and contour to warm the skin up. And I also just take whatever's left on the brush and just lightly go over. Okay, next I will do concealer. I really love the concealer from Kosas, but I also have and love the Instant Age Rewind Eraser from Maybelline. This is a really great drugstore, more affordable option. I have it in the color 160. It's a little bit more pinky, kind of more brightening, color correcting for under your eyes. But Kosas definitely takes the cake for me. I think it's worth every penny. And I just do a little dot in the inner corner of my eyes because they get pretty dark. And then I'll also do a swipe under my eyes and then just a little bit here on the corners of my eyes. And since I have a breakout over in this area, I'm also gonna put a little bit of concealer in that area and kind of let it dry for a minute while I blend out the concealer that's under my eye, because letting it dry a little bit helps it keep a little bit more coverage. This is the brush that I use to blend out my concealer. It's the perfect little size for under my eyes. It's from IT Cosmetics, but the name is rubbed off right now. And again, I tap this in instead of rubbing it. And I'll also take any leftover and go over my eyelids as well. And once that concealer on my blemish is a little bit more dry, I'll also tap that out. Now I'm just gonna set my under eyes with a little bit of powder so that I don't crease. I really love the Laura Mercier one, and I don't know if it's because I have more of a cool undertone to my skin, but I love this pink powder from them. It's not super pink, it just kind of has this like peachy pink tone to it. It's just really nice and brightening for the under eyes. And I'll just take a little bit and put it on my eyelid too. Not a ton because I don't want it to look cakey, but I do need to set my eyelids a little bit so that they don't crease. And for everyday makeup, I don't put powder all over my face. I really just concentrate it underneath my eyes and then a little bit on my eyelids, like I said, just to set that concealer. I love contour, bronzer, and blush. It's like my favorite part of doing my makeup. I've been loving this Face Trace contour stick from Westman Atelier. So sometimes I'll tap my brush directly into this and then buff it in my skin if I want like a really natural blended type of look. But if I want more of like a sharp contour, I'll just take it directly on my cheekbones. I put it just a little bit higher than the actual hollow of my cheekbone because I want to blend it up and lift everything up. I don't want the contour to like drag my face down. And I love a pretty bronzy look, so I put it all over my forehead. And then I'll also do just a little bit on my nose, just here on the sides and then on the very tip. If I'm just doing like very quick makeup, I'll also sometimes swipe this just on the corner of my eyelids as well and just blend it out as I blend everything else in and kind of just use this as like an eyeshadow. But today I'll show you what I use almost every day as an eyeshadow instead of this. And I just tap this in. It blends out so easily. Gives you this nice, really diffused contour. For me, the more bronzy and blushy, the better. I absolutely love blush and bronzer. And if I accidentally blend this cheek contour a little too low, then I will also go back in with my foundation brush, I couldn't find it, and just kind of like clean up that area a little bit. And now my eyebrows are driving me crazy, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows now. I wax my own eyebrows at home. Let me know if you want to see how I do that, but earlier this week I accidentally took off just a little bit too much of this front section, but that's totally fine. That's why I fill them in. So I used to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I absolutely love that one, but ever since I found the e.l.f. version, it's called the Ultra Precise Brow Pencil from e.l.f. and I use the color Cool Brown. I feel like it's a pretty good copycat of the Anastasia one, so I've been loving this and it's like half the price. So the way that I do it is I use a very light hand, but I will use up and down strokes just on this first little part of my brow, kind of like in the same direction that my hair naturally grows. And then I'll just do sideways strokes with the hair growth for the rest of my brows. And depending on how well I waxed them, sometimes I'll need to just add a tiny bit of an arch there. I'll show you again on this side in case you weren't able to see that. So I'm using up and down strokes on this first part of my brow, and then sideways strokes in the same direction as my hair growth on the rest of my brow. Again, a very light hand and tiny little strokes. And a good rule of thumb is to choose an eyebrow pencil color that is like one or two shades lighter than your natural hair color. If you're looking to create like a natural shadow, I would definitely go for something a little bit more cool in tone, because it's gonna create that natural type of shadow instead of looking super warm. And then I just use the spoolie end and blend it out just a little bit, nothing too crazy, just to get all of the hair going in the same direction. And I actually don't like a brow gel. I don't really like that feeling of like not being able to move my brows very much. I don't know if I just like am too expressive with my brows when I'm talking or something, but I don't like that feeling of like having my eyebrows glued to my face. So I don't do any of that. Now I'm gonna move back to the face for just a second. I love the Patrick Ta blush. I use a pretty extreme color. I use the color She's Wanted because I love a nice, deep, rich berry color. I use the cream side and almost never use the powder side though, just because it is so pigmented. But another blush that I really, really love is by Fenty Beauty. It's their cream blush in the color Summertime Wine. It's also a very pretty, like sort of berry wine-ish color. I love this blush a lot. I'm gonna use this little tiny brush from e.l.f. I probably should get a little bit of a bigger blush brush. That might make it easier to blend out, but this is what I'm using for now. And like I said, this stuff is so pigmented. So another one of my little quirks that I do with this is I will just tap it a couple times into the cream blush, and then I use this little plastic piece here and I'll tap off any excess directly on that little plastic part. Also helps get the blush like evenly distributed on the brush without having to use the back of my hand. And I love a blushy type of look, so I basically just start right here in the center of my cheek and gradually add more. And I do kind of drag it up towards my like temple a little bit, but I really like to keep it more focused down here on my cheek. And I do feel like my blush kind of fades throughout the day, so I'm not shy with it at all. And just a little bit on top of my nose, because again, I love that blushy type of look. Okay, so now I'm gonna move into some powder products. The Dior Backstage Glow palette is such a good multi-use palette. So over top of my cream blush, I'm just gonna take some of the kind of like pinkier highlight shade here and just take it on mostly the high points of the blush. It's so radiant and so pretty. And then one of my all-time faves is the Chocolate Soleil bronzer from Too Faced. I've gone through so many of these over the years. I love it. I'd like to try something new next, I think, just because this has been in the rotation for so long, but just pick some up on a brush and I'm just gonna pop a little bit on my forehead for a little extra warmth. I know that it's gonna fade throughout the day, and this will help me match my face a little bit better to the rest of my body. Now for eyes, I kind of switch this part up like every day depending on what I'm feeling, but I normally will go for one of three options. Either my good old trusty Naked 3 palette. Most of these names are like rubbed off. This is like an ancient relic. Lilith, maybe, is the name of the one that I love. It's just like a nice light pink. I have like a neutral cool undertone, so I normally will do this one when I'm less tan, if that makes sense, because my tan adds a lot of natural warmth to my skin. Or I'll use some sort of combination of like bronzer and contour on my eyes. But today I'm gonna use my Dior palette because I'm fake tanned, so I want to use something that's just a little bit more warm. So on this big fluffy Morphe brush, I'm just gonna kind of mix these two brown and tan shades and tap off the excess. Since this is not like a full glam type of look, I don't want to do a ton on my eyes. I just want a nice little flush of color. I do kind of stay towards like the outer half of my eye though. I don't get super close to the inner corner. Okay, so that looks good, and now I'm just gonna do a couple swipes of mascara. I have like super stick straight lashes, and I actually have a really hard time getting my eyelashes to stay curled. But the one thing that I found really helps is always just using a waterproof mascara. One of my favorite ones is the Lash Sensational Waterproof. This is the one I'm gonna use today. My eyelash curler is from Tweezerman, and one thing that I do is instead of just curling it one time, I kind of take it at 3 different points throughout my eyelash and curl at the base and then in the middle of the lash and then just a little bit at the very end, just to give like a nice natural looking curl instead of just curling them at the base. I think I have what's called almond shaped eyes, so a lot of eyelash curlers are way too like rounded for my eye shape, so I like this Tweezerman one because it's a little bit more flat, if you can tell, like in terms of how curved it is. Kind of hard to talk when I'm applying mascara, but I basically just kind of put it at the base of my lashes and wiggle it just a little bit, very lightly, and I do nice long wiggling strokes, if that makes sense. And I think the biggest thing with mascara is really just taking your time and not rushing it. I know it's like easier said than done. Sometimes you just gotta rush through it, but I really do think that it helps if you can just take your time with it and like just do long wiggling strokes. I also don't know if I already said this, but I think one of the biggest things when it comes to makeup, it's less about the actual products that you're using. I don't want anyone to feel like you have to go out and like buy a ton of new makeup after watching this to recreate a similar type of look. It's less about the actual products and more just about how you apply it, the technique, the placement of everything, I think makes more difference than anything. So I would definitely start with what you already have. And then the other thing is just making sure that you're using colors that are true to your specific like coloring and tone. Even if you and I look similar, we still could have very different like undertones to our skin and to our hair. So use what you know will complement yourself and your features the best. I saw that brown mascara was trending, and so I was using it for a while and it started to feel like my face kind of looked off a little bit. And then I realized I just really love how I look so much better with a black mascara. I feel like the contrast just works a little bit better for my features, the contrast between my skin and my hair. I just feel like I need something a little bit more high contrast as opposed to like really, really subtle like brown or something like that. So anyway, I feel like I'm yapping now, but in summary, just use the tones and the colors that you know will work for you. My last step is really the step that I feel like is the most transforming and kind of just pulls the whole look together. So that's my lips. The combo that I have always been going back to for the last couple of years. I like to throw different things in here or there, but in general, this is my everyday basic pinky neutral combination. So I use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk medium liner. So I feel like this whole video I've looked like I've had no lips because I do kind of cover the edges of my lips with my foundation, but now I'm just gonna go over, I really can't talk when I do this, but I just follow the natural shape of my lips. I have a less defined like line on my upper lip, if that makes sense, and I've never done any Botox or filler. So I do like to just slightly overline around my Cupid's bow. I have a pretty defined lip on the bottom, but not on the top. And by slightly overlining my upper lip, I just feel like it makes my lips look a little bit more balanced from top to bottom because my upper lip is just a tiny bit smaller than my bottom lip. And then I do lip gloss. I love the lip glosses from Buxom, their plumping line specifically. I just feel like, again, since I don't do like Botox or filler or anything, I just feel like I like the plumping because it does add a little bit of that like plumpness to my lips. My all-time favorite is the plumping gloss in the shade Dolly. It's this really nice pinky color. You can't tell right now though because this is like totally empty. I've totally scraped it clean and I just cannot for the life of me find my full-size one that I have floating around here somewhere. It's gotta be like stuck in one of my purses or something. But for now, I will use this clear one from Buxom, which is actually the plump shot. So this one is even more plumping. So since I already have some lip liner on, I'll just go over with some of this like super plumping gloss. This gloss is like majorly tingly though. So if you don't like that tingly feeling of plumping glosses, do not get this. But it really does give you nice plumpy lips. And that is my bronzy, blushy makeup look for every day. I will add all of the products and the colors down in the description box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you want to see from me next here on YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Bye.